The unusual volunteer. The alien medical ship floated silently in orbit above the ruined planet below. It was once a colony world, now reduced to dust by a strange plague that killed most living beings in weeks. The disease didn't just kill, it melted minds. It destroyed memory. It left survivors in pain, screaming nonsense until they died. Inside the ship, doctors from many species worked together. One of the species was called the Zephyra, a race known for their healing abilities. They looked almost human but had glowing blue eyes, soft silver skin, and long white hair. They were calm, graceful, and always quiet. On this day, a group of humans stood inside a testing chamber. One of them was Eric Dawes, a 24-year-old technician who had come to help with repairs. He had no special skills, no medical training, just an average man from Earth. The head doctor, a Zephyra elder, spoke gently. "We need one volunteer, just one, to test the new cure. The others may wait." Everyone took a step back, except Eric. He stepped forward. "I'll do it," he said. The room fell silent. Even the aliens looked surprised. One of the Zephyra girls, young, barely over 100 in her species years, walked forward slowly. Her name tag read Soraya. She looked at Eric, her glowing blue eyes watching him closely. Then she smiled. "Relax, human," she said softly. "This won't hurt." Eric tried to laugh. That's what dentists say right before they drill. But something about her voice made him nervous. It wasn't cold. It wasn't fake. It was unsure. As if she wasn't even certain of her own words. Eric was led to a strange silver table. Soraya placed her fingers on a crystal control pad. The lights above dimmed. A warm glow surrounded his body, scanning every inch of him. Soraya looked down and whispered something in her language. The other doctors didn't react. But Eric saw the change in her face. She looked confused, then worried. "Is something wrong?" he asked. She shook her head. "Just old data. Your DNA is interesting." Eric blinked. "Interesting how?" Before she could answer, she picked up a tool from the table. It didn't look like any medical device he had ever seen. It looked ancient, carved from black metal with symbols glowing in blue. "What is that?" he asked. She paused. "This is the procedure, but that looks more like a weapon than a tool." Soraya said nothing. She brought the tool close to his chest. It began to hum, softly at first, then louder. Eric's skin started to glow with a soft blue light, just like hers. He gasped, but there was no pain, only pressure. Suddenly, images flashed before his eyes. Strange cities, alien wars, a massive gate of light, and a giant being covered in armor, screaming through a burning battlefield. It wasn't a memory, but it felt like one. "Soraya," he shouted, shaking. What's happening?" She dropped the tool. Her face was pale, even for a Zephyra. "It wasn't supposed to work," she whispered. "You weren't supposed to react like this." The other doctors ran in, alarms now flashing red. Eric's body began to rise off the table, glowing brighter. He felt like something was waking up inside him, something powerful and angry. "Shut it down," a voice screamed. "Stop the scan." But Soraya stepped between Eric and the others. "No, you don't understand. He's one of them." "One of who?" the head doctor demanded. Soraya looked at Eric with wide eyes. "He's not just human. He's part of the Echo line." Everyone froze. Eric fell to the floor, breathing hard. The light faded from his body, but something inside him had changed. He could feel it. He looked up at Soraya. "What did you do to me?" She looked down, guilty. "I didn't do it to you. I unlocked what was already there." The guards entered, the room with weapons. The doctors shouted. Chaos broke out, but Eric didn't move. He just kept staring at Soraya, and for the first time since arriving on the ship. He wasn't sure who the real experiment was, something ancient inside him. Eric sat in the isolation chamber. The walls were smooth metal, cold lights hummed above. He wasn't tied down, but he knew he was a prisoner. 2 alien guards, twice his size, stood outside the door, unmoving. His skin still tingled. It had been hours since the procedure, but the strange feeling hadn't stopped. Something deep in his chest felt alive, like it was watching from the inside. He didn't know what it was. He just knew it wasn't normal. Suddenly the door opened with a hiss. Soraya stepped in. Her silver skin shimmered under the lights, but her eyes were tired. She looked nervous, like she wasn't supposed to be here. "They'll come soon," she whispered, "to ask questions, but they don't want answers. They want to control you now." Eric stared at her. "Control me? Why? What did you unlock in me?" She stepped closer and placed a small glowing stone on the floor. It spread a blue light, forming a circle around them both. The cameras outside blinked and died. "They can't hear us now," she said. "That's a silent stone. Old Zephyra, tech." Eric didn't speak. He just waited. Soraya took a deep breath. "You weren't just a random volunteer. Your DNA, it carries a signal. It responded to the echo tool, the black device I used. That tool only reacts to ancient bloodlines." Eric raised an eyebrow. "Ancient bloodlines? I'm from Kansas. I'm not royalty." Soraya shook her head. "Not royal. Dangerous. Your people. We're part of something long forgotten. The Echo program." Eric's mind spun. "What is that?" Soraya looked into his eyes. Long ago, before humans even discovered space travel, a powerful race created soldiers. Weapons in the shape of people. Not machines, not clones. Real beings who looked human, but were more, stronger, faster, able to tap into energy fields most species can't touch. Eric laughed nervously. "You're saying I'm some kind of alien superweapon?" "No," she said softly. "I'm saying you're the descendant of one." He fell silent. "Many of your kind were wiped out," she continued. "The rest were hidden. Some were buried. Some lived normal lives. Until something or someone woke them." Eric leaned back. "That's what happened to me?" She nodded. "The echo tool awakened your core, and now," she paused, "they'll want to cut you open to study it. Unless I help you escape." Eric looked confused. "Why would you help me?" Soraya hesitated. "Because I was trained to find echo bloodlines. But no one told me you'd feel human." He looked at her, heart racing. "You mean you thought I'd be a monster?" She said nothing. Then something strange happened. The room around them began to shake, just lightly. The silent stone flickered. Eric clutched his head. A sudden pain shot through his skull. Then, a voice, it wasn't his, it wasn't hers, it came from inside him. "We are not gone, we are waiting. Return to the core." Eric collapsed to the floor, breathing hard. The lights stopped flickering. Soraya rushed forward. "What did you hear?" He looked at her with wide eyes. "Voices. They want me to go somewhere. A place called the core." Soraya's face turned pale. "No, it's real." "What is it?" Eric asked. She whispered. "The echo core, a hidden place, a weapon, a memory vault. No one knows for sure. But if you're hearing the call, it means it's active again." Eric struggled to sit up. "Then we have to go there." Soraya hesitated. "If we go, every species in the galaxy will try to stop us. The core was sealed for a reason." Eric clenched his fists. "I didn't ask for this, but if something inside me is waking up, I need to know why." Suddenly, alarms rang outside. A voice echoed through the station. "Subject Eric Dawns is to be transferred to Dissection Lab 3. Prepare for biotransport." Soraya stood up quickly. "They're coming." Eric rose too. His eyes glowed faintly. "Blue. Then let's leave before they take me apart." The Forbidden Truth Soraya led Eric through the hidden tunnels of the ship. The Zephyra vessel was massive, built with smooth metal and flowing lights, but underneath it was a maze of forgotten passageways. Not even the guards came here. Eric's Footsteps echoed behind her. His head still hurt from the voice. He had tried to ignore it, but he kept hearing the same word over and over again. Core. Where are we going? He asked. To the ship's old memory chamber, Soraya replied. Before we escape, you need to see what they hid from you. Eric frowned. I thought you wanted to help me escape. I do. But if you don't know the truth, you'll never trust me. They reached a sealed circular door. Soraya placed her palm on a glowing panel. The door opened with a deep hum, revealing a dark room filled with floating data crystals. The walls flickered with holograms, shifting images from ancient times. Soraya walked into the center and picked up one crystal. This is forbidden knowledge, she said quietly. If the High Council finds out I showed you this, they'll erase me. Eric stepped closer. Then why show me? She looked at him, her expression full of something strange, fear and hope mixed together. Because I've been lied to, too. She activated the crystal. A projection filled the room, showing tall armored humans standing side by side with Zephyra warriors. They fought strange alien beasts with glowing weapons. One of the humans had bright blue eyes, like Eric's. That's us? Eric asked. That's your ancestors. Soraya nodded. The Echo Line, created by a now extinct race called the Architects. They believed in balance, so they made the Echo Line to protect it. But she paused. The Echo Line became too powerful, too hard to control. The scene changed. The armored humans now burned cities. Planets screamed under their hands. Even the Zephyra couldn't stop them. Soraya lowered her head. My people helped destroy them. We wiped the records. We swore never to speak of them again. But some believed a few would survive, hidden among normal humans, waiting. Eric swallowed hard. And now you think that's me? I don't think, she said. I know. The Echo tool only activates for direct descendants. You're one of them. He turned away, pacing. So what am I? A weapon? A soldier? A bomb waiting to explode? You're still human, she said gently. But you're also something more. Eric stared at the wall. The images had changed again. This time they showed a shining temple floating in deep space, its core pulsing with blue energy. The Echo Core, Soraya said. The heart of your people's power. No one has ever reached it. It only opens for Echo-blooded ones. And now it's calling me, Eric muttered. Why? Maybe it knows you're ready. Or maybe someone inside it is waking up too. A warning alarm suddenly echoed through the chamber. Unauthorized entry detected. Security drones deployed. Soraya's eyes widened. We have to move. Now. They ran out into the tunnel as metal spheres dropped from the ceiling, each one blinking red. A beam shot past Eric's ear. He grabbed Soraya's arm and ducked behind a power core. We can't outrun them, Eric shouted. Soraya pulled a small disc from her pouch and threw it into the air. It exploded with a pulse of blue light, shorting out the drones. Smoke filled the hallway. Eric coughed. What was that? Old Zephyra tech, she said, smiling, faintly. The kind they say we destroyed after the Echo War. Guess I forgot. They reached a narrow maintenance shaft. Soraya opened it and shoved Eric inside. Where does this lead? He asked. To the shuttle bay, she said. I have a ship hidden there. Small, fast, quiet. Eric paused, then asked the question that had been burning in his mind. Why me, Soraya? Why did you pick me that day? There were other humans in the room. She looked at him carefully. Because I saw your eyes, she said. They glowed. For a second, and I felt the echo inside you. I didn't know what it meant, but I knew I had to find out. Eric looked down the dark tunnel. I still don't know who I am, he whispered. You're about to find out, she said. But you'll need to stay alive first. With that, they crawled into the darkness, toward the bay, the core, and the secrets waiting in the stars. The escape from medical deck. The lights flickered red as alarms screamed across the alien medical ship. Every hallway pulsed with warning signs in multiple alien languages. Subject Eric Dawns, breach detected. Armed response deployed. Eric and Soraya ran through a dark maintenance shaft, barely wide enough to crawl. Sparks flew behind them. Security. Drones were cutting through the wall. "We don't have much time," Soraya called out. Eric's muscles ached, but something inside him was changing. He moved faster than before, reacted quicker, felt stronger. It wasn't just adrenaline. It was the echo. They dropped into a supply room behind the main medical deck. It was quiet here, for now. Soraya pushed over a cabinet and blocked the door. She handed Eric a strange-looking metal band. "Put this on." "What is it?" he asked. "It hides your echo signal, just for a little while." Eric snapped it around his wrist. "So we walk out now?" Soraya gave him a small smile. "We run." She opened the door to the hallway and froze. 4 Zephyr guards were already there, fully armored, weapons charged, their glowing visors locked on Eric. Soraya raised her hands. "Don't shoot. He's not a threat." One guard growled. "He's Echo, that makes him a weapon." Eric stepped forward slowly. "I didn't choose this, I don't even know what I am." The guard raised his weapon. "You're a danger." But before he could fire, Eric's body moved on its own, too fast to see. His arm swung out, striking the guard's chest. The armored alien flew into the wall with a loud crash. Everyone froze, even Eric. I didn't mean to do that." The other guards opened fire. Blue energy bolts filled the hallway. Soraya pulled Eric behind a wall. Now would be a good time to embrace your inner weapon. Eric gritted his teeth. "I'm trying not to kill them." He grabbed a loose piece of the wall, ripped it off like paper, and used it as a shield. He rushed forward, bullets bouncing off the metal. One guard tried to block him, but Eric kicked him back like a rag doll. The last guard ran. Soraya looked impressed. "You're learning fast." "I didn't learn it," Eric gasped. "It's just happening." They sprinted toward the shuttle bay. The walls changed color as they passed each security zone. Green, yellow, orange, then red. "We're getting close," Soraya said. But just before they reached the hangar doors, an energy blast hit the wall beside them, blocking the path. An older Zephyra stood there, tall, robed, his face covered by a metal mask, his voice deep and heavy. "You shouldn't have awakened him, Soraya." Eric stepped in front of her. "Who is that?" Soraya's voice shook. "That's my mentor, High Scholar Tyron." Tyron stepped forward. "You broke your oath, girl. You used forbidden tools. Released something that was meant to stay buried." Soraya looked at him with defiance. "The galaxy is already falling apart. Maybe we need the Echo again." Tyron raised his staff. "Then let me show you what happens when ancient power is misused." A blast of pure energy shot from the staff. Eric didn't move. His eyes glowed bright blue. The blast stopped mid-air, frozen, then shattered into pieces like glass. The hallway went silent. Tyron staggered back. "Impossible." Eric walked forward, slow but calm. "I don't want to hurt anyone, but if you try to stop me again, I won't hold back." Tyron raised his hand to signal more drones. But Soraya pressed a hidden switch on the wall. Behind them, the hangar doors opened. A small, sleek shuttle hovered inside. Its engines hummed, ready. Eric grabbed Soraya's hand. "Time to go." They raced into the shuttle. Eric slammed the door shut. Drones fired from the bay, but the ship lifted and shot out into space like a bullet. Behind them, the medical ship lit up with more alarms. Echo signal lost. Inside the shuttle, Soraya sighed in relief. "We made it." Eric leaned back, breathing hard. "That old guy, your mentor, he knew something." She nodded. "He always feared the Echo would return." Eric looked out at the stars. Then he's going to be terrified of what comes next. What Eric really is, the stars outside the shuttle drifted like silent ghosts. Space was quiet here, far from any patrols, far from the Zephyra ship they escaped. Eric sat on the floor, staring at his hands. They looked the same. 5 fingers. Human. Normal. But they weren't. When he closed his eyes, he could hear things. Whispers, in a language he didn't understand. He could feel energy pulsing through his body like a river under his skin. "I don't feel human anymore," he muttered. Soraya stood nearby, tapping commands into the ship's console. She glanced back. "You are still human," she said softly, "but you carry something older, something not fully from Earth." Eric looked up. "What exactly am I?" She hesitated. Then she turned off the console, sat across from him, and pulled out an old data crystal. "You're not the only one," she said. "You're part of the Echo line, a bloodline created by an extinct race, but not all of them are dead." Eric's eyes narrowed. "You mean there are more like me?" She nodded. "Not many, but they're out there, hidden. Some don't even know who they are. Some have already awakened, but not all of them are stable." "What do you mean?" Soraya looked down. Some gave in to the voice inside. The Echo whispers are powerful. They promise control, power, legacy. But if you listen too long, you forget who you really are. Eric clenched his fists. "So I'm a weapon waiting to go wrong?" "No," she said firmly. "You're a choice. That's what makes you different." She stood up and activated the data crystal. A hologram appeared, a galactic map. Dozens of red marks blinked across it. "These are signals we've detected over the past 50 years. Each one is an Echo signature, brief bursts of power, then silence." Eric pointed to one. "This is Earth." "Yes," Soraya replied. "The signal was weak, but the tool we used woke it fully. Now, you're broadcasting." He swallowed hard. "So other Echo-blooded might hear me?" "Yes. Or worse, the Hunters might." Eric blinked. "Hunters?" "The Zephyra Council formed them centuries ago. Quiet assassins trained to track and erase any signs of the Echo line. My people feared what your kind could become." Eric's voice turned cold. "And you were one of them?" "No," she said. "I was trained to find, not kill. I was supposed to report you. But I didn't. Because when I looked at you, you were afraid, not dangerous. That's what convinced me you weren't like the stories." Eric stood up and walked toward the front window. In the distance, a faint glow pulsed in the void, like a heartbeat. Soft, blue. "What's that?" Soraya looked up, and her eyes widened. "That's it," she whispered. "The core." A strange pull stirred inside Eric's chest. The closer they got, the more alive he felt. Like the stars were watching him. Like memories he never lived were waiting. "It's calling me," he said. Soraya nodded. "The Echo core holds everything. All the memories, all the power. If you enter, you might become the one who controls it. Or it might erase you." Eric looked at her. "Why help me go there, Soraya? What do you get out of this?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "Because I once believed my people were right. That your kind were monsters. But I've seen what real monsters look like now, pirates, tyrants, killers in uniforms. And you're the first one who said I don't want to hurt anyone, even after you could." He didn't speak for a while. Then he asked, "What happens if I unlock the core?" She stepped beside him. "Everything changes, for better, or worse." Suddenly the console flashed red. A transmission was being forced through. Soraya moved fast, blocking it. Encrypted code, from Zephyra High Command. Eric's heart skipped. "They found us?" "No," she said slowly. "Someone else did." She played a short audio file. A voice came through. Calm, clear, not alien. "To the one who hears the Echo, we see you. We've waited. Don't trust the girl. Don't trust the core. Come to Station Wraith. You'll find the truth. And your brothers." The message ended. Eric stepped back, stunned. That was a human voice. Soraya stared at him. "You have a choice now. Follow the core, or find the one sending that message." Eric looked out at the glowing light in the void. Whatever he chose next, the galaxy would never be the same. Into the Echo Zone, the shuttle passed through a silent curtain of cosmic dust. Everything beyond it changed. The stars dimmed. Space itself seemed quieter. Eric felt it in his bones, the strange pull growing stronger, like invisible strings tugging at his chest. "This is it," Soraya whispered. "The Echo Zone." The cockpit window revealed a graveyard of forgotten things, massive floating ruins, shattered ships, ancient satellites. Time had no meaning here. Machines from 1,000 dead civilizations drifted through blackness like ghosts, and at the very center, a structure, not a ship, not a station, a floating temple of impossible design, shaped like a spiral star, pulsing slowly with pale blue light. It had no engines, no doors, no visible life, just an aura of power that reached into Eric's mind. Soraya stared at it with fear. "That's the core." Eric stood frozen. His heartbeat matched the pulse of the structure. "It's alive," he said softly. The shuttle shuddered. A shockwave rippled through space, not sound but feeling. A voice, not in words, but intent, entered Eric's thoughts. One of the line, "Has returned. We open." Suddenly, a massive circle on the core began to spin. Beams of light reached out like fingers, drawing the shuttle closer. Soraya tried to fight the pull, but the controls locked. "We're being pulled in." Eric didn't resist. Let it happen. The shuttle passed through a glowing membrane. Then, nothing. No stars, no motion, just silence. They stood inside a massive chamber. The air smelled like electricity and old memory. Blue light pulsed through, the floor and walls like veins. Soraya stepped beside Eric, whispering, "There are no doors, no tech, just this." Eric walked forward. The chamber lit up with every step. Then voices rose. Thousands of them, but not in fear. They welcomed him. "Eric Dawns, Echo Line. Blood confirmed. Identity fragmented. Memory missing." Soraya looked around. "It's scanning you." A column of light shot down from the ceiling, surrounding Eric. His body stiffened, the room blurred. Suddenly, he wasn't there anymore. He stood on a battlefield of another time. Alien skies, burning cities, armored Echo warriors fighting side by side with Zephyra. He saw himself, but it wasn't him. A man with his face but older, eyes glowing like stars, wielding a weapon made of thought and energy. "We were protectors," the memory said, "until we became too strong." Scenes changed. He saw betrayal. The architects, the creators of the Echo Line falling to their own soldiers, the Zephyra rising against them, the galaxy turning its back on the Echo warriors. One by one they were hunted, sealed, erased. "You are the last spark," the voice told him. "The last one not chosen, but now the core awakens." Eric dropped to his knees. Back in the chamber, Soraya rushed to him. "Eric, say something." He gasped for air. "I saw them, I lived it. The wars, the end. They weren't monsters. They were scared." She touched his shoulder. "What now?" The chamber pulsed again. "You may now claim the Echo mantle. Become what you were meant to be." A floating orb appeared. Pure light. It hovered before Eric. Soraya stepped back. "If you touch it, you become their voice." Eric hesitated. Then, another voice echoed across the chamber. But this one didn't come from the core. It came from behind. Clap, clap, clap. Eric turned. A man stepped from the shadows. Human, dressed in dark armor, calm eyes, confident smile. "Well done," he said. "You made it." Eric stepped in front of Soraya. "Who are you?" The man tilted his head. "I'm one of you. An echo. Just awakened a little earlier." He pointed at the orb. "Touch that, and you'll link yourself to the core. You'll carry the burden of our history and their programming." Eric frowned. "You mean it'll control me?" "Not exactly," the man said. "But it will change you. Forever." Soraya narrowed her eyes. You sent the transmission, the man smiled. I did. You weren't supposed to bring him here, girl. We needed him free, unlinked, to lead the new Echo army. Not a core puppet. Eric looked at the orb, then at the man. Why should I trust you? The man's voice dropped. Because we are not done. The galaxy is falling apart. The old powers are weak. The Zephyra are corrupt. The time has come for the Echo line to rise again. He pointed at the orb. That is a leash. Then he pointed at himself. I offer freedom. Eric stood in silence. In his mind, two paths opened. One, power, memory, and duty. The other, freedom, rebellion, and unknown Echo warriors waiting in the dark. He closed his eyes and took a step. The weapon that should not exist. The moment Eric stepped forward, time seemed to stop. The glowing orb hovered silently, pulsing like a beating heart. On the other side, the armored man, another Echo, stood calm, his eyes locked on Eric with quiet challenge. Soraya whispered behind him, You don't have to do either. We can leave. But Eric wasn't sure he could anymore. The Echo core was alive inside his head now. Its memories, its power, its purpose, all whispering, all pulling. Claim your past, shape your future. He reached toward the orb. Think, brother, said the armored Echo. You touch that, and they own you. The architects, the voices, the guilt of our bloodline. Eric paused inches from the orb. And if I walk away? You join us, the man said. We have others. Awakened Echo blooded across forgotten moons, hiding in the shadows. Ready to rise. We don't want to destroy the galaxy, we want to fix it. Without chains, without ghosts. But how many will you kill to do that? Eric asked. The man's smile faded. As many as needed. Eric's hand dropped. I'm not interested in being another weapon in someone's war, he said. Not yours, not theirs. Then, he did something no Echo had ever done. He touched the orb and held on to himself. Blue light exploded around him, swirling through his body like a storm. Images of millions of lives. Echo warriors rising, falling, saving, destroying. 1,000 years of memory pressed into his skull, and still he stood. Soraya shielded her eyes. The other Echo shouted, No! It's too much! You'll lose yourself! But Eric didn't scream. He accepted it. Not as a tool. Not as a god. As a human. The chamber began to shake. The core pulsed, brighter and brighter. A new voice echoed. Not the ancient one, but Eric's own, now amplified. I see everything, the mistakes, the lies, the fear, and I choose something new. He turned toward the armored Echo. No more shadows, no more silent wars, the man growled. You fool, you could have joined a new age. I'm not here to rule, Eric said. I'm here to stop this cycle. The man launched forward, faster than any normal being. His fist glowed with pure energy. Eric didn't move. The punch landed and shattered against a glowing blue field around him. Eric raised one hand. A wave of force launched the armored Echo across the chamber, slamming him into the wall. He crumpled, groaning. Soraya rushed to Eric's side. Are you still you? He smiled weakly. More than ever. Suddenly, alarms lit the chamber, red. Incoming hostiles, multiple vessels, high threat level. Soraya moved to the console. Zephyra, fleets, the council traced the core's activation. They're coming to destroy it. Eric looked out through the now transparent chamber wall. Dozens of ships dropped out of hyperspace, massive silver cruisers bristling with weapons. Soraya turned to him. If they destroy the core while you're linked, it could kill you. Eric nodded. I know. She touched his arm. Let's run. But Eric didn't move. He looked down at the damaged Echo warrior. Your people out there. They'll think I'm the enemy. The man coughed. Because you are. They fear us. They always will. Eric walked past him, eyes glowing. Then I'll give them something to believe in. In orbit, the Zephyra Council fleet locked onto the core. Target acquired. Prepare orbital cannons. On the command deck, a counselor looked nervous. What if he speaks with us? Another counselor shook their head. Too late. The core has awakened. Its echo protocol. Eliminate it. Inside the core, Eric stood, alone on the platform. The orb above his head cracked open like a flower, revealing a blue flame. He stepped into it. All around him, memory became energy. He reached out with his mind, and every ship in orbit went dark. Inside the Zephyra fleet, screens shut off. Weapons stopped mid-fire. Engines went quiet. Officers screamed. We've lost control. Someone's inside our systems. A single message appeared on every screen. I don't want war, but I will not let you erase us again. Back inside the core, Eric floated above the chamber floor. His voice echoed like thunder carried across the stars. The echo line is not your weapon. We are not your enemy. We are not monsters. He paused. But we remember who made us monsters. From the sky, a single cannon lit up, manual override. It launched a supercharged blast toward the core. Soraya screamed, "Eric, get out of there!" But Eric didn't run. He raised his hands. The blast struck him directly and vanished. He absorbed it. The chamber trembled. Soraya ran to him. You can't hold this forever. I won't need to, Eric said. He reached into the core and spoke a single command. Sleep. The entire core dimmed. The flames pulled into his body. The platform lowered. The storm ended. Silence fell. Outside, every ship's power returned, but their weapons stayed locked. Eric walked back, human again. Breathing. Alive. Soraya caught him as he stumbled. You stopped the war. He nodded. For now. She looked at him. What will you do? He looked toward the stars. There are others like me out there. Lost. Angry. Scared. They deserve a choice. Not fear. Not control. He turned to her. I'm going to find them. And I'm going to tell them the truth, she smiled. Then I'm coming with you. He smiled back. Good. I'll need someone to keep me from turning into a glowing god again. 1 week later, a small shuttle flew silently through deep space. Inside, Eric and Soraya looked over a map, hundreds of red dots blinking. Eric placed his hand on the glass. Let's begin. As the ship jumped into hyperspace behind them, the core sank deeper into shadow, silent once more. But waiting, because the galaxy wasn't done with the echo line, and the echo line wasn't done with the galaxy.